You like my beard?
No.
You don't like it? I'm trying to overtake you as best beard on the podcast.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You got
I
a
need
while
something
ago.
back after you overtook me on hottest man on the podcast.
That was the title?
Yeah.
Did you ever hold that title?
Yeah. No. Nope.
No. Neither did I.
No, but you do now, and that's why I'm trying to take best beard.
Why am I hottest man? What did I do to achieve that? I haven't changed anything.
Taught me history.
That makes me hot.
Yeah. Learning is sexy.
You had a weird parasocial relationship with your history teachers in school, my guy.
A parasocial relationship with you because now you're famous for being the history guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a YouTube short with 10,000 views now.
That's crazy.
It was made by you, but that doesn't matter.
That still blows my mind.
It's on
I
my
don't know.
channel.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. Welcome back to Real Talk, everybody. I'm on clap because it's been so long. And by so long, I mean...
It hasn't been long because they still be getting weekly videos. As far as they're aware, we've been doing these weekly.
Yeah, it's been long for us.
It's been 2 weeks since we last recorded our podcast, guys.
And we didn't miss a single upload.
By the
day.
way, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone.
Mm.
We're recording this on the 30th of December, just to timestamp exactly when we're recording it at 1:17 p.m. in the evening at this address. No,
That's my address.
So here we are. Yeah, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, everyone. Welcome back to the Real Talk podcast. My goodness,
We've made it.
we've done. What episode is this?
6.
6. Oh,
I think.
I thought it was 7.
I want to double check now.
No, I'm
because-
pretty sure because you uploaded 5 yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, a few days ago.
Mm.
Because somebody forgot to upload the podcast.
I was too busy partying with Big J.
Somebody forgot.
And-
Big J is Jesus, by the way, not me.
Jesus
if you thought Big
Christ.
J might have been me, it was not me.
Yes. Big man upstairs. Jesus Christ.
Big Jetzer.
We're already
Big
blaspheming.
Jesus.
How long are we in?
Big Jesus.
2 minutes in blaspheming. It is episode 6.
Episode 6.
We made it. We made it.
How many 5 stars we at now?
We have 8 now.
8.
And we also just hit 100 downloads.
Sure.
People listen to this. Isn't that crazy?
Who's downloading this? Who's listening to this?
Who's doing this?
Who's sitting down and...
Is it only history teachers listening to this?
I hope not, because they just would hate me for how wrong I can be.
We're rage baiting right now.
He's fucking wrong. He's wrong. Oh my god, he's wrong.
Welcome back. We made it. We've got I don't know. It's just like I feel like I need to say a lot of shit, but there's not really much to say.
No, go for it. Have you got anything you want to talk about? We got a new comment that you showed me that I would like you to read because it made me very emotional. Didn't really.
John cried like a little baby.
It made me feel
I had
good,
to cuddle
though.
him.
Yeah, he does that a lot. I sit in his arms and he strokes my hair and he tells me it's all going to be okay.
I'm all up to date now. I seriously love the podcast so much. I actually genuinely feel like I've learned a lot from listening to the podcast. So please, for me, don't stop. Thanks.
There you go. Look at that. Isn't that lovely?
Isn't that sweet?
People are learning. People are learning from us talking for like a little bit.
I think because I think I mentioned it already, but it's like we've never had like a standard for like a good podcast. So it's like this is already blowing all of our expectations like way out of the water because we've just like, we haven't had people, I think, actively listening to a podcast that we've made besides ourselves. Because I listened to every episode of our previous podcast when I had to edit them. So
yes,
and that was it. That was very hard because we only had to edit 2 episodes per year. So
2 episodes per year.
yeah, man.
Was it that bad?
I think so.
Jesus.
Did we make? Yeah, no. It was.
Did we make $1 million on our last one? We sure did.
Yes, and now we're trying to top it, and that is the expectation.
That means we need $2 million, guys. So if you head to the Patreon, there's no Patreon.
If you want to head to my donation link, just donate $1 million per person.
Just want to go to streamlabs.com/tip/fearjohn with 2 N's. You can.
Do you know your tip thing? I don't know mine because I'm for the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm for the money.
I'm a socialist, I think.
Are you?
Yeah.
Same.
You convinced me.
Same.
All right, John. What are we talking about today?
Well, today, because you expressed such interest in it 2 episodes ago, and by that I mean 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I've forgotten everything.
3 weeks ago, you expressed loads of interest in the fact that I was talking about how the Byzantines, or what was remnants of the Roman Empire, had flamethrowers on their. I was my
flamethrower impression that sounded awfully close to my mind-blowing impression. So it was and both the same thing.
He did little actions in front of me there.
Just to distinguish. So audio listeners, if you can't distinguish between and fuck you. Fuck
you. Think about it, dude.
Yeah. Just use your brain, use your ears and look. See what I'm doing.
All right. Well, here we are, Byzantines. First off, as per always, make sure you rate 5 stars, because do you know what happens if you rate 5 stars, Jack?
They get up on the leaderboard.
No, we get up on the leaderboard. Not they do. They don't get it. Unfortunately, you don't. Well, you get more podcasts is what you get. But if you rate 5 stars, it moves us up higher on that history and or comedy list. Which means more people who aren't within our circles and our usual listeners will hear the podcast. And the more people that hear it, the more it gets shared around and the more podcasts you get. So make sure you rate it 5 stars if you haven't already. You can do that on Spotify. If you're listening on YouTube, though, make sure you drop a like, do comments, all of the interaction-y stuff. Ring that bell button, all that rubbish that YouTubers say, Oh my goodness.
Smash like,
guys.
Subscribe. I have a problem.
If we reach 4 likes, I'll shave my balls. Oh. We went 2 very different ways in that.
And both of them would be bad. I have just realized I have not checked YouTube comments for probably a month.
Do we have any YouTube comments?
We have YouTube uploads that we are uploading on, but the thing is I haven't checked, so I don't know.
I don't think we have comments on any of our videos, do we?
I don't know, because I haven't checked.
Oh my God.
That's the problem.
What's our podcast name again? I'm joking.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah, that's us. Pull that up. Yeah, so, sorry, I'm checking the
John,
channel.
Can you pull up our comments?
Yeah. Pulling up the comments now.
Okay. But yes, I'm excited to learn about the Byzantines and flamethrowers.
Yeah, well, we're going to learn about all of those. Find this.
Can the flamethrowers be the last thing that you mention? So then it's just a retention thing.
That's what you retain in your head.
Yeah, it's a retention thing to keep me invested, because then me and all of the listeners are going to be like, when the fuck is he going to talk about the flamethrowers? But
I just want to know about the flamethrowers. Where is our podcast? I can't find it.
I probably have it.
Can you figure it out?
Yeah, probably.
Jack, pull that up.
That's the thing, is that I don't think I'm logged into the podcast account on my computer, and so that's why I'm not getting notifications on if.
All right, sorry, we've off-roaded already. Yeah, so if you're on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, do all the interaction-y stuff. Again, same thing, gets the word out there. If you're also on Spotify, thanks for 100 downloads. My goodness, that's huge.
That is sick.
100 of you downloading to listen offline, whether you're traveling or just don't want to rely on the internet to listen. That's fair enough. Super cool of you. I want to just do a little shout out to Smith or Painless Bread. He comments every single time he listens to the podcast. He normally says it in my Twitch chat, which is the reason I don't have record of it. But he's always like, it was a great podcast, which is really cool of him. Same with Malachi, if you're listening. Super dope of you to thank you for constantly listening and learning. It's super cool of you. Thank you, boys.
It is very cute.
Yeah, it's really nice of you. Send me a message with a message in it so that I can read it out rather than just saying thank you.
Yes.
You guys know how to contact me. So if you don't, all our socials are both in the Spotify description and the YouTube description. So let's talk about the Byzantine Empire, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Jack's still trying
to log into the account.
He's trying to pull it up.
I'm fucking up the passwords. It's telling me to click images of buses. I thought I got it right. But
Jack, pull it up.
I'm getting there.
Jack, pull it up.
This is a mess.
Pull it up, Jack.
I'm pulling it up.
We might have to edit this out because we're both sitting here trying to open...
No, I got it.
Yeah, you got it?
Yep.
Jack, pull it up.
Jack, can you pull that up? I can't wait to pull this up and then realize, we don't have comments on...
Yeah, we definitely don't. I don't think so. That's what I've seen. But I do check them when they go up.
You're telling fibs. You're telling fibs.
I'm gonna go with comments. What do we have?
Smith Painless
Yep.
from episode 4 commented, "I am the Kingdom of Ohio," and quoted me in 2023.
Yeah.
I guess I said that at some point.
You are the Kingdom of Ohio.
And then last episode we got a comment that says another banger. So, well, there you go.
Perfect.
We do get comments. Let me heart those real quick.
First time he's logged into the account.
Literally the first time. Sorry. I don't even think I'm subscribed to it on my own account. It's a mess because, I mainly pay attention to the Spotify things.
You upload it straight from the website, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
So it's literally
sense.
like I don't have to go onto YouTube to do it. I just click one button and then I'm like, I just like adjust the description
So
a little
when we
bit
get
and then it
a
does it.
video manager, a Winky, that's what they would do realistically. So you would never have to actually log into any of those.
Yeah, if we want, if you're looking to be a producer for a podcast with 100 downloads, just let us know. Email my business account, and I'm not going to
business account.
Yeah, but I'm not going to say it because I don't want people to email me.
I see.
That was a joke. Please don't email me.
All right, team. Let's talk about the Byzantine Empire. So, Jack, do you remember we've briefly talked about the Byzantine Empire before? Do you know anything at all about what they are? Don't look at my fucking screen, you little dickhead.
I'm looking at your cheat sheet.
No.
Flamethrowers, and that was it.
You don't remember anything at all?
Did they have a big ship?
No.
Well, there you go. That's as much as it's been 3 weeks, John, and we weren't even talking about the Byzantines. We were talking about Vikings.
We talked about the Byzantines in the first episode.
In the first... Okay, well, there you go. Well, now I absolutely don't remember. I remember Remus and Romulus, and that's it.
Yeah. What did they do?
Sucked on the tit of a wolf.
Yeah, baby.
And there you go. That was it. That was all I remember.
Okay.
John, I think that's the most disappointed I've ever seen John before.
It's all right. For those of you at home that don't already know, I have a map next to me that I point to tell Jack generally what I'm talking about. If you are wanting to follow along at home, I'm going to generally give you a brief outline as to where I'm pointing, as well as the country's name. So if you just wanted to whip up a map yourself, if you're not quite sure where I'm talking about, feel free to do so. But I will be referencing a map, and I will say out loud the places I'm pointing at. So if you're not quite sure, like Jack wasn't before we got the map, make sure you have a peek at those as well. It's always a little more comfortable and easier to understand where we're talking about.
And if you need to figure out where to get a map, google.earth.gov/map.
Does the dot come first?
Google.earth.
Oh.
.gov.
Google.earth/map.
/map.
I thought you meant Google, full stop. .earth was like the beginning of the URL.
Yeah, it is. Google.earth.
No, but I thought like you were saying to Google it, not that Google was part of the URL.
Google.earth/map. Anyway, what Byzantines?
I don't get it. Okay. So
just keep it going.
most of the things that are going to take place today are in and around kind of what's now Turkey and Greece. Greece, Turkey, Bulgaria, Albania. Those are kind of the big main ones here. So we're talking like what's considered Asia Minor or the Near East, quote unquote. That's kind of this region here. In between the Black Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. Rome obviously being all around the Mediterranean Sea, and the Byzantines being the remnants of Rome when they fell, which we did talk about in the first podcast. I'm pointing at Jack with a stick right now.
We need to banish the pointing stick already. He's going to take an eye out.
Because Jack did not remember that, even though it was one of the main things I raised. Because I was very adamant that you had to remember that Rome fell, but only Western Rome, not Eastern Rome.
And then they formed the Eastern Roman Empire, of course.
Which became...
Not Russia.
Which became... what are we talking about today?
The Byzantines.
Eastern Roman Empire became the Byzantines.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't know that.
It all comes full circle, baby.
I didn't know that part.
So the Byzantines is the Greek name for it, whereas the Eastern Roman Empire was the Latin Roman name for it.
It makes sense.
When they adopted Greek as their kind of primary culture, they became what's known as the Byzantine Empire. Okay.
It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I get it now.
Mm-hmm. So
It only took me 15 minutes and I already learned it. That's world record pace.
So, Rome split in, I'm going to get the date right here, 285 AD. So, Jesus is dead. 285 AD. So, we're talking pretty early on in Rome hasn't fallen yet, just before the Dark Ages or the like medieval times and stuff. Byzantines own the east, all around here. I'm pointing at the Balkans, so Hungary, Serbia, Czechoslovakia, that kind of region, as well as Turkey and Greece. They also owned Egypt and the Middle East as well. So they were very large. They covered a huge swathe of land. And then the West owned Italy, Germany, France, Spain, Britain, that kind of jazz. Now, the West fell, but the East survived. Do you know why?
I'm not going to say it.
No, I'm posing questions to you. Just lay it on me.
I just really want to say flamethrowers. That's why
it wasn't quite. They did have a contribution. We'll get to the flamethrowers, I promise. Jack really wants to talk about the flamethrowers. No, so the West fell because it was there was a lot of infighting. They went through 15 emperors in a year, that kind of thing.
I remember.
Yes. So at this point, both sides of the empire were governed almost autonomously, but were technically part of the same thing. So they were all still Rome, but East and West had their own emperors almost. The East was a lot more stable than the West because, and this is a big major point, the East still had major enemies. So Constantine, which is where Constantinople was named after, he moved the capital from Rome to Constantinople to be closer to their enemies in Persia, who were the Sassanids. That's what they were called at the time. So they were in Egypt and Iran.
Were their main...
They were like the main enemies of the Eastern Roman Empire at the time.
And so they hadn't fallen because their enemies were so big that they were like, we can't be fighting each other, we need to be fighting other
exactly
people. Okay.
Similar to how Rome got so big in the first place, having one uniformed enemy always makes people look outwards rather than inwards. Rome itself were constantly fighting over power, the Western Roman Empire, whereas the Eastern Roman Empire still had massive major enemies that were constructed kingdoms, whereas over in the Western Roman Empire they had hordes coming from the north in like the Celtic regions that were unorganized tribes. They had the same in Germany. They weren't whole, like, solidified, what we would consider civilized nations. They were, like, what the Romans considered barbarians and tribesmen. Whereas over in Iran and Egypt, they were, like, civilized, quote-unquote. Egypt and Iraq is considered Iran and Iraq are considered what's called the cradle of civilization. As in, that's where civilization kind of began. And that's where we see, like, what is now modern civilization as. So these places had, like, formed kingdoms. And so for the Eastern Roman Empire, there was still that big looming threat. So to infight and weaken ourselves would mean that we would collapse. So they held together. They also were not affected by things like the Huns, which were the early Mongolians, because they just went around the Eastern Romans. They just went straight through kind of Russia and into like Italy and stuff. Right. Yeah, exactly. So Eastern Roman Empire stays together. Western Rome's fallen. Let's rename to the Byzantines, and they take Christianity. They're like, Christianity, pretty cool. Jesus, sorry we killed you. Let's pray and stuff. That's pretty much kind of what's going on. So around that time of Christianity, that's when they also were like, let's be Greek instead, because why are we holding on to Italian Latin when we live in Greece, or what was a majorly Greek area at the time? Especially before the Byzantines were there, Greece was mostly just like the left side of Greece, so a little bit above like Athens and stuff. But with the conquest of people like Alexander the Great, he spread Greco influence all throughout the world. So much so that some of his followers and Greek followers are the people who founded what we now consider the Egyptian kingdoms and stuff. So like the people who built the pyramids weren't the same people that were in charge of Egypt when Rome conquered it. So like Cleopatra is a descendant of a Greek person, not of an Egyptian person. Oh. Yeah, so that's the kind of thing that like he spread his influence so far that there were Greek kingdoms in what is now Pakistan. So he went from here to here and we're talking like ancient Greece, like 500 BC or some shit, or like a couple of thousand BC. I don't remember. Wow. It was a long time ago. Mm-hmm. Anyway, big man, spent Greek influence everywhere. So Byzantines are like, we're Greek now, and we're Christian. We're not Latin and have like the pantheon, so they don't believe in like Mars and that anymore. They're like,
oh no,
that shit.
But I loved Mars and Kratos.
Kratos?
Yeah, God of War.
Yeah. So,
John, we're 6 episodes in. John is done with my shit.
Yeah,
He just wants to teach history. I'm shooting spitballs at him.
That's so silly. All right, let me move on from this shit. This stuff's all boring. So early like Byzantines, as I said, owned most of the Middle East, if not all of it. Yeah, they owned all of the Middle East: Egypt, Turkey, Greece, Bulgaria, Albania, Macedonia, and like up to like here, pretty much.
Right.
So kind of the middle of the Balkans, so like Romania and stuff. Mm-hmm. They owned all of that. They were big boys.
Huge.
Big boys, right? And that's
big.
That's after Rome fell as well. So the massive Roman empires collapsed, but they're like gripping onto everything. Mm-hmm. They're like, we're keeping it all.
Spider-Man meme.
Exactly. They are like...
Audio listeners, if you couldn't tell what John was doing, fuck you. Just listen. Did you not hear the webs come out of his hands? There you go.
That's so silly.
Like, just we have these tiny little breaks just to say some dumb shit in between.
That's me shooting. So, what's kind of crazy is, and not many people know this, really early on in the Byzantines' kind of existence, they actually reconquered all of Italy and most of Spain.
Sure.
As well as all of Northern Africa.
The Byzantines did.
Yeah, so they almost reformed Rome. For the second time. They almost had it.
Fuck.
And then Justinian died. And everyone just went, it's gone to shit.
Who was that?
So Justinian was like the first major emperor of the Byzantine Empire after Rome fell. He was like the big shot. The man that... He was the Caesar of the Byzantine Empire. So he almost had it. He was this fucking close. And he made a lot of money as well, apparently. He left behind, you ready for this? 145,000 kilograms of gold when he died.
I thought you were going to say $145, and I was just like, well, with inflation, I guess that's a lot.
No.
Did inflation exist yet?
Yes, it fucking did. Yes, it definitely did.
That's a lot of gold.
Yeah,
like 145,000 kilograms, did you say?
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Of gold. Of pure, like, rich gold.
That's insane.
That's mental, yeah? Anyway, they're over here. They're chilling. Justinian's dead. Ripping chat. The Persians in what is now Iran, they were, like, fighting with the Byzantines just after Justinian died. And the guy who was in charge of Byzantines at the time were like, we're going to lose. So this is, like, the first major loss for the Byzantines at this point. They're like, we're losing. Here's a bunch of gold. So they gave a lot of gold, not all 145,000 kilograms, but it's a major amount of gold to the Sassanids. So they've given that over. The Sassanids are like, we're rich. We've got better horses than you. You guys suck. So the Byzantines then lost most of their things like Italian land because a bunch of like major tribes like retook it over. Pretty rough, not gonna lie. They recaptured Rome. The like guys who lived in Italy at the time, they were called the Ostrogoths. So when Rome fell, the Ostrogoths took Italy, and those were the people who were in charge of Italy for a long time before they kind of split up and became like a weird mixture of what we now call Italian. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the Ostrogoths took all this, and they were forced back up to like up in the mountains by like Genoa and Milan. And then that was when the Justinian did all his like fighting and stuff. And then he died. They lost to the Sassanids, and the Ostrogoths were like, we're so back, dude. And they took Rome back again. And that's really when the Byzantines started to lose Italy major, which was unfortunate. They were this close.
Yeah, these are the Byzantines the good guys? Or are they like the Sith?
So... This is how I see it. So
I'm trying to figure this out. Who do I go for?
The Byzantine Empire, a lot of people look at the Byzantine Empire and they call themselves Byzantophiles, because they like love
they
it.
want to fuck them.
Because they want to fuck the Byzantine Empire.
What's his name?
Justinian.
Justinian.
They
Yeah.
really want to bang Justinian the First. Yeah, I'd bang Justinian the First. What a legend. That's so fucking. What are we talking about? Dude?
I was asking if they were the good guys.
So it was around this time that like things like the Hagia Sophia was built. Do you know what the Hagia Sophia is? No.
Whoa.
Massive temple, one of the largest temples on the planet.
That's cool.
It's gorgeous.
If you want to add that in for the audio listeners,
I will I will do that. I'll listen this through and I'll be, I need to add that in. Yeah, for the audio listeners, I'm going to draw an image. I'm going to beam it to your head right now. There you go, it's beamed.
And if you couldn't
just
hear
Google
it or see
Hagia
it,
Sophia.
fuck you.
Stop being a goose. All right, so Justinian's family line, like his dynasty, it dies out at around, give me a date, I'm begging, 610. So Justinian's family has been in charge of the Byzantines for 400 years. His family dies out. I think he was deposed, actually. Like, one of his descendants was deposed. Then,
What does that mean?
So one of his like great-great-grandchildren, who was in charge of the Byzantine Empire, deposed is when you like kick them out of being a king and someone else takes over.
So he just got sacked.
Sort of, but he got sacked at the edge of a sword and kicked out. Like, if you don't leave, we will kill you. So it's normally like a military coup, and it deposes them. It's not great. Normally, a deposition isn't a great thing. So they deposed him. Justinian's family, rip in chat, they're gone. The Harrison family takes over. They suck. They're really shit.
Oh.
Administrative wise, terrible. Diplomatically, awful. Militarily, don't know what's going on. Do you know what they really want? Money. Really want money. And do you know where they see money? That's right. The Byzantine Empire. So they're like, we're in charge now. And I'm spending all this money on me.
Is that because of all the gold?
That's because of all the gold.
So I'm taking my belt
Super
off.
unpopular. Super unpopular. When they deposed Justinian's family, the Sassanids, who were in Iran at the time, took over like most of Turkey. Like half of Turkey's practically gone at this point. The Middle East is gone. All of North Africa gone.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
How much of it is like left at this point?
So do you see where it says Ankara? Right here.
Oh yeah.
So here, so I'm drawing a line at Ankara for the home viewers. So Ankara to about here. So like this.
Okay, right. So that's like Bulgaria, Greece, and like half of
Bulgaria, Greece, and half of like Turkey going left from Ankara. That's all that's left.
Right. That's, yeah.
They lost quite a bit of land. Like
just a touch.
A lot of land. Really, really bad. But, which was kind of dope, so Constantinople was sieged in 626, and they hung icons of the Virgin Mary from the walls of the city, and by doing so, apparently the patriarch of the Orthodox Church, who's like the Pope for the Orthodox Church, was like, if they touch these icons, it will seen as blasphemy. And all the defenders were like, okay, we have to keep them away from the icons. And they were able to defeat the Hungarians who owned all of this land at the time. They were called the Avars. They were like a descendant of like the Mongolians.
Right.
Who were the Huns before then.
Oh, okay.
So they like pretty much hung these banners and were like, rally behind these, don't let them get touched by the like heathens or whatever. And that's how they like defended the city. And that was like the first major victory for this family. But they were like sieging what is now Istanbul, by the way. Istanbul is Constantinople. I don't know if I've explained that to you. It was renamed after Turkey took it.
Okay.
So Istanbul was once Constantinople. Now it's Istanbul, not Constantinople. It's been a long time gone since Constantinople. It's a song.
I was like, yeah, damn, I really wish I got that. I probably would have laughed.
Yeah, no.
Nothing worse than not getting a joke.
Yeah, that's really awkward. So I will show you kind of what they ended up getting back to. For you audio listeners, fuck you.
Yeah.
So The green is what the Byzantines were able to retrieve once they fought back the like Sassanids and the Avars. So they went from owning what is all of this red. They owned all of the red, and they've gone back to the green. Still a lot of land.
Oh, so they don't have the red anymore.
They don't have the
and
red
they just
anymore.
have the green.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's still a lot of land, but they lost a lot as well. So they've gone to kind of the green.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
we're
I was trying
looking
to
like
make up the map. And I
Northern
just, like,
Africa
constantly-
here, southern Italy, Turkey, Greece, Bulgaria, and Albania. That's about where they're kind of left with now. So they've lost a lot of land, but it's not as bad as it could be.
It could be like Western Rome.
It could be like Western Rome, not existent. Yeah. So it was
that, guys.
around this time.
That was a history joke.
So the Sassanids were Zoroastrian. Crazy religion.
That sounds like
It's
like
dope.
somebody that like
It's dope. It's
is like,
like
religious to like
they've
aliens
got like
or
a
something.
bird, but it's like it looks really cool. Their religion's very interesting because they believe in the power of good. If you are, you know how like the Bible's like, oh, if you're good to your neighbor, they'll be good to you, kind of thing. The whole Zoroastrian religion is that. It's like manifesting good and being good to people and doing good deeds is how you gain favor with like their god.
Yeah, right.
And their temples were called fire temples, and they believed in the
Okay.
light of the eternal burning flame.
Okay, so what is the bad thing about this religion? Because I'm only seeing good things so far.
I'm now Zoroastrian.
Yeah, I was gonna say this religion sounds like be nice to people.
So it
I'm
was
all about
around
it.
this time that the Zoroastrian faith was dying in
Right.
replacement of
Chris,
the other one.
Kath.
No.
Wait, what are you saying?
So there's Christianity, and what's the other major faith in the world?
Oh, fuck. There's a lot though.
No,
Is
there's
it-
like two big ones.
Please say it, because
It's Islam. It's Islam.
Oh, okay, yeah, I was not going to say that.
Well, it's around this time that Islam started getting like wham, right? So we're now moving into pretty early medieval age. The Islamic faith is becoming very big. It started down here in southern Arabia and has moved its way up into Iran. The Sassanid Empire is overthrown by a Muslim caliphate founding Persia, and then Egypt, Libya, pretty much all of North Africa, the Middle East, Arabia, and Iran are now all Islamic. The Sassanid Empire falls to Persia, becomes like dismantled states, and then they all infight, but religion is really the main driver for that. Cool little thing, one of the last remnants of the Zoroastrian faith was a temple they built in northern India, and it's still practiced by small populations in that region.
Let's go to India.
Yeah, do you want to go to the Burning Fire Temple in India? That sounds dope,
Turn
right?
into like an airbender or some shit. Sounds crazy.
So this was around the time of what was called the Umayyad Caliphate, which was enormous. We're talking like Egypt, Saudi Arabia, like all of this, pretty much like Iran, Iraq, Syria, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Oman, and Libya. So like all of this land was one giant Islamic empire, which are called caliphates. So if I say a caliphate, it's like Islamic kingdom. So caliphate is just like kingdom is a Christian word. Caliphate is the Islamic version of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they're ran by a caliph, not a king. Same as a kingdom is ran by a king. A caliphate is ran by a
Is
caliph.
it a similar like
Same thing.
thing there? Okay,
Literally
yeah.
the same thing.
right? Okay.
Don't quote me on that. You
Yeah,
can quote
I
me on
just
that.
mean like a king is like the
leader.
the big
And the
big
caliph
dude.
is the leader. Same thing. Different faith, but same meanings. Anyway, one giant fucking caliphate. The Umayyads, big boys. These guys don't like the Byzantines very much. And the Byzantines don't like them because the Byzantines lost the Holy Land to them. The Umayyads, they're like, this is ours now. They also lost, annoyingly, their biggest enemy, the Sassanids, who they knew they could fight. They don't know how to fight a kingdom that's not only 3 times as large, but also filled with what is now almost like religious fanatics defending their land.
Yeah, right.
Many of the soldiers in the Umayyad Caliphate were extremely religious, like hyper-religious. All the soldiers in this time period were hyper-religious.
Yeah, I was going to say,
there's not much else you can really follow. Like it really was like this was really the period where Christianity and Islam started their kind of rivalry, their bickering. It was around this period, especially as the Byzantines were pretty much the gateway to Europe. If the Byzantines were conquered, Europe is open, right? So it's very important to the Byzantine people that they hold back the Umayyads, and it's really important to the Umayyads that they're able to hold their holy land against the Byzantines. Mm-hmm. So here we start to begin like struggles, problems. Now, it is around this time the flamethrowers come out, Jack.
Yes!
Let's go!
Yes!
So I call them flamethrowers. They're what was named Greek fire. It was a secret recipe that only the Byzantines knew. It was only mounted on boats, I'm going to presume, because it was like really difficult to produce and it could only be like transported on boats. I think. I don't know any occasion it was used in land combat. It might have been used in the defense of the Byzantine Empire because they have what's called the Theodosian walls, which are gigantic, super thick walls around the city, 2 or 3 layers of them. Mm-hmm. And you could probably mount flamethrowers on them like Greek fire. But as far as I'm aware, they use Greek fire off the boats. Now, what's fucking dope about them is they would have a dragon head on the front of the boat.
Right at the start, and I was like, I feel like I'm making this up.
No, so they would have a dragon head on the front of the boat, and they would breathe fire out of the dragon's head onto other ships. Now, that means that the Byzantine fleet around this time was like 100, 200 ships, could defeat fleets 2 times its size because those other ships are like trying to throw spears at you and you're shooting fire at them.
So what was the recipe for the flamethrower?
I actually don't know. I'm going to presume
2 shots of vodka.
A lemon. A lot of oil and a spark. I'm going to presume they figured out that if you launch oil into flame, it will set alight. I'm pretty sure that's all Greek fire was. It was just a device that allowed you to pump oil really quickly through a tube. The end of the tube would be lit, and it would set fire to the ships when the oil went out. Right. Now, the reason that was so dangerous was because oil sits on the top of water. And at this point, all ships are made of wood. So all Byzantine ships designers needed to do was make sure the Greek fire fired forward and the rowers could go backwards.
Yeah, right.
And they could set fire to whole swathes of the ocean, which meant that not only the ships that they were setting fire would set fire, but also the ships that were sailing through it, because oil also sticks. So even if the ships don't set fire immediately, the fire is sticking to the sides of the boat where the oil is. And all the Greek fire users need to do is then set fire to a little bit of the boat, and it's already covered in oil, right? So it's very dangerous. This is around the time also that the old, pretty much how the Byzantines worked is they had states in their kingdom, the same way we have states here. Each state is run by a governor, and then they all contribute soldiers to the one major army of the Byzantines. Mm-hmm. Okay? Yeah. This came from the legionary system way back when. Individual states did not have legions. Sure, certain legions came from states, but it was not the governor's job to run that. It was the empire's chosen general, right? That changed. And it did lead to kind of the eventual fall of Rome because it meant that the governors could take control of their own legions and just march wherever they wanted, which caused a lot of infighting. We talked about that in episode 1. You can go check that out if you haven't already. But the Byzantines entered the same system. We love not learning from history. So they introduced what's called the theme system, which is where every state had a governor, and each governor was in charge of protecting their own state, which meant there was not one major standing army for the Byzantines, but loads of little militias ran by the governors that were charged to protect their own land. This worked really well at the start.
And then went fighting because they
have their own armies. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so smart. I get it. Like, I'm like Neo right now.
Yeah.
The numbers.
So, with this system, the problem was that the Empire could call upon the themes to contribute soldiers, which is good. But when it came down to the themes to defend their own land, if the Empire was like, we need your army to protect the Empire as a whole, they go, okay, here's my army. but the empire are not contributing soldiers or money to be able to protect the people whose land they just took the army from. So now around this region, all of Bulgaria, Albania, Romania, Serbia, all of the Balkan region was lost because this was around the time that the Byzantines were pulling soldiers from the west and putting them in the east to fight against the Muslim armies. So by taking the soldiers that were defending these lands, because it's not the empire's job, it's the theme's job to protect it. When they take the theme's army because they need it to fight,
how are they going to protect?
They can't defend themselves. So the people around them just walk in, and there's nothing they can do. The same exact way that Western Rome fell.
Yeah,
the exact
because the
same
people
way.
just walked in there, right?
Exactly, because they were pulling all their armies and leaving to go conquer Rome because I want to be the emperor now. It's my turn. I'm going to take all my legions from Britannia and leave it completely fucking open. Anyway, then they're off to Rome and just leaving all their land undefended, exactly the same as they did with Britannia. So all of the Balkan regions, we're talking Bulgaria, Albania, Serbia and stuff, they're all gone. So we've got a repeat of history. Who guessed? If you don't learn your history, you repeat history.
Guys, history does repeat itself. We're learning. So now all of you listening, do not leave your theme unprotected. I think.
That's so
Is that
silly.
right? Is that a... Should we put that on a poster?
So around this time, obviously they lost all this land, but Bulgaria was actually being pushed south by the Hungarians. So Bulgaria and Hungary was much larger at this point. It actually owned most of Romania. Had pushed all the Bulgarian people down south to this. There's a river here. It's called the Danube. That used to be the separation between the Byzantine land and the Bulgarian land, or Bulgar at the time. Hungary has pushed them out, or what was the beginning of Hungary, the Avars. They've pushed Bulgaria right to the edge. Now, Bulgaria approached the Byzantine Empire, and they're like, hey, please help. We're fucked.
Right.
So the Byzantines are like, yeah, sure. We'll do that. We'll help you.
So at this point, how much of the Byzantines did the Byzantines have?
Greece, Turkey.
Okay.
We're pretty small. We fell off. The Byzantines have fell off. So we're pretty small at this point. The Byzantines were like, yep, we'll help you, no problem. So they signed a little treaty with the Byzantines that pretty much put the Byzantines in charge of some areas of Bulgaria and Bulgaria in charge of some areas of the Byzantine Empire. They kind of traded some land,
right?
And they were like, yeah, let's make this a little nicer.
I'll give you my land for your Charizard.
Also, you'll never guess who's in charge at this point.
Charizard?
Justinian II.
He had a baby?
No, it's just a man named Justinian who's also the second person called Justinian who's in charge.
Would you look at that?
I know, he's back.
Has that ever happened before? Has anybody had the same name as a previous...
well, what's our king called at the moment?
Charles.
Yeah, do you know what comes after that?
Charles II.
The third.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's happened quite a lot. Queen Elizabeth was Queen Elizabeth II, you dope.
No. She's the only one.
She is the only queen in my eyes. I thought I touched your foot then, but it was my shoe.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought I was kissing your little foot, mate.
Playing footsies under the table.
I'm removing that. That's awful.
We're playing footsies.
Okay, so it's pretty fucked. Now,
it sounds like a pretty dire situation.
Not only have we been beaten down to nothing, do you know what happens next? That's right, the plague.
Oh, fuck.
That's right.
History does repeat itself.
Knock, knock. It's the plague.
We were already on the back foot, and then a disease struck the entire place that we live.
So, but Constantinople itself, although it did suffer a massive population decline because of the plague, actually did bounce back relatively quickly. In only a few years, its population kind of returned to what it was.
Because of masks and vaccines?
No, because a lot of people want to move there because there's now nobody living in the nice homes that exist in Constantinople.
Damn, that's crazy.
Because at this point, Constantinople is what's seen as the jewel of the world.
Oh.
It is like the most beautiful city that's existed in the world. Rome's been sacked about 20 times at this point. It's some like a couple of huts in the Vatican is all that's left.
It's been run train on.
Multiple tribes have ran a train on Rome at this point. Constantinople has never been like sacked really in its current state ever. So it's like it's got artwork from like ancient Greece in there all the way up to like middle of medieval age. So it's got literally thousands of years of history within these walls.
So the people are all dying in there, and then people are just walking in like, oh, I'll take this house.
Oh, lovely. Put down their suitcase.
How much is rent?
Yeah, there is none. The rent the guy owned it died. Oh, okay, well, it's mine now. Anyway.
No landlords here.
So this is all happening. You'll never guess what happened next. That's right, Constans II.
Whoa!
I know, the second Constans.
I like how you keep saying you'll never guess what happens next. Like, I literally will not guess. Like, you could say anything and I would not have guessed it.
So Constans arrests the Pope.
What the fuck?
I know, and then kills him.
What the fuck?
He doesn't really. He takes his eyes and his tongue out and then banishes him.
What? Are you telling me the truth?
Because at this point he wanted to mend the schism. The schism was the separation between the Christian church and the Orthodox church. He was like, we should do this. And then the Pope and some other people who were Christians, Catholics, sorry, not Orthodox, were like, no, and tried to like make like a rebellion. So the Emperor, Constans II, arrested them, took out his tongue and his eyeballs, and then kicked him out. And was like, go away, I don't like you anymore. I don't want to play with you anymore. And then...
My toys, my rules.
Loads of people in the Byzantine Empire were super upset with him. So he ran away to Sicily, right here, and like moved the capital there. So Constantinople's no longer the capital for this man, and he got murdered by his court. So like everyone in like his castle was just like, you're a dickhead, and stabbed him to death.
That's crazy.
So anyway... This is around the time that the Senate comes back. So the Senate that was like in charge of Rome is now in charge of the Byzantines.
Wow.
So the Senate's returned. Constans is dead. Constantinople's the capital again because who the fuck wants to go to Sicily?
Yeah. Okay.
So we're back in Constantinople. Byzanthophiles rejoice. Again, you'll never guess who comes back. That's right, Justinian II. He's back. He's back again.
Wait, he didn't die?
No. Constans died. Constans dethroned Justinian, killed the Pope. They kill Constans. Justinian comes back.
Gotcha.
Yep, the man, he's returned. He's like, woo, I'm back.
Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast. He was like, let's heavily tax rich people because it's around this time that the themes are like infighting. Everyone's trying to make money. Everyone's trying to kill each other. It's turning into Western Rome. We're in a real dire situation here.
Yeah, right.
We've reduced to practically the smallest amount of land the Byzantines have ever seen. We're in a super sticky situation. Everyone's killing each other because they all have their own armies. I don't have an army. I'm gonna tax the rich people so that they can't afford to hold their armies up, and I'm gonna make loads of money, and then we're gonna be good. Anyway, it didn't go very well.
Damn it.
And let's have a look. So he tried to make a load of outsiders, like administrators, rather than like the rich people. He tried to make all the outsiders like in charge of the government positions. So he's like choosing his cabinet from like people outside of the kingdom so that the aristocrats inside the kingdom don't get positions of power. They can actually like do things in the empire. And you'll never guess what happened to him. That's right. The aristocrats rebelled against him and kicked him out. Off you go, dickhead. Second time's a charm. He goes and hides with Bulgarians. And then eventually he overthrows the aristocrats, and then I think he fucking died.
I mean, it seems like he's had a very eventful life, so if he dies around now, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, so the 7th century, which is 600, the year 600 to 699. So a really nice little line here. The empire which once spanned from Spain to Jerusalem is now just Turkey. That's it. They don't even know Greece anymore. It's just Turkey. Down here.
Spain to
So from here to
Holy
here.
fuck, yeah.
Big boys.
Literally, I was like, where's Jerusalem? Didn't realize I didn't know where Spain was, but there's
Spain to Jerusalem. So they owned all of this.
That's crazy.
And now they're just Turkey.
Wow.
Rough times here in the Byzantine Empire.
Shit.
Yeah, but I got a nice house because old fucking Kevin died of the plague, so...
Was his name Kevin or like Kevroth II or something?
Kevosos or something. So everyone's dying.
Son of Justinian.
Do you know what's cool about this time period, though? Yeah, sure, the Byzantines are on a down, but they start trading with the Chinese. China, who at this point was just kind of... how do I explain this? Without getting very yikes.
You could just say the bottom right half of the bottom right of China.
No, because I'm going to say something that I shouldn't say, and I know it's going to really upset some people.
You know what? Say it, John.
Okay, so the area of Tibet that shouldn't be Chinese, it should just be its own country. Imagine Tibet to the right. That's what China was. So it didn't own this bit. It owned over here. Okay. So that illegal invasion of Tibet and the systematic destruction of their culture and religion.
Stop! He's already dead.
That shouldn't have happened. So imagine they didn't do that, and that's how much land China owned at the time. They were the Yang? Tang. Sorry. Loads of different dynasties. They were the Tang dynasty, and they showed up in Turkey because they went along the Silk Road, which was a road built by the Mongolians from China into Europe so they could transport supplies, trade, everything like that. Anyone along the Silk Road became very rich. It's China's connection to the West and the West connection to China. Now, the Silk Road ends in, like, Moscow region and Turkey. So it, like, travels all the way through the Middle East and down here, and it kind of ends in Turkey. So at the time, Constantinople and the Byzantines owned, like, the end of the Silk Road. The Chinese show up and like, hey, here's silk. And Europe had never seen silk before this. And they were like, this shit's fire. Oh, feel that. Lovely. So what do? Send a bunch of spies to China, steal a bunch of silkworms. My silkworms now. So it's around this time that the silk gets introduced to Europe, and the Byzantines make a lot of money because everyone wants
money.
Everyone wants silk. But at this point, the Byzantines are the only ones with it. And then do you know what happens? That's right. The Normans show up in Sicily. Who are the Normans, you ask? Well, they come from northern France. And we talked about these guys last week because they were the ones settled by the Vikings. When the Vikings sacked Paris, or were going to, the Parisian king was like, hey, settle in Normandy and defend against other Vikings. So they were like, okay. So the Normans at this point had medieval armor and like weaponry, but Viking prowess and like tactics. So they were terrifying, right? So
this is the scary Vikings.
Scary Vikings. So the Normans not only invaded England later on in history, conquering England and producing the English culture, they also conquered, well, not many people know this, it's all of southern Italy. And founded the kingdom of Two Sicilies, which later became Naples. Yes. That's why southern Italy is so different to northern Italy, because it's technically Viking French.
Well, there you go.
Weird, right? That's why,
like Viking French or Viking French?
Like Viking people that mixed with the French culture became Norman. And the Normans then settled. Well, I say settled. They conquered southern Italy off the Byzantines. They killed a lot of people there and took it. And then founded Naples, which eventually joined the Italian Union and became part of Italy. But that's why, like, southern Italy and Sicily especially, Sicily has a lot of Arabic influence because it was owned by Muslim caliphates for, like, thousands of years.
Yes.
And then southern Italy, like the Boot area, was owned by Normans who were northern French people who were descendants of Vikings. So, and then northern Italy is all, like, what we now consider, like, what you would consider, like, an Italian person. Their closer culture is probably northern Italy, so like Milan, Venice, that kind of thing. Rome, anything south of Rome was pretty much northern French Viking people.
Okay. Right.
So they show up and they're like, we're taking this. And the Byzantines couldn't do anything about it because they were like getting fucked and selling all their silk. Do you want to see look how many links are in this tiny little... fuck off. Look how many links are in this tiny little bit.
Holy shit.
Because they reference like 1,000 different like kingdoms.
Yep, I just saw Emperor Taozong of Tang.
Yeah, the Tang Chinese sources. This is pretty much why they're like... This all of this bit is them being like, this is what happened in this like 2-year period.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So a bunch of people fight and stuff in the middle. Do you want to see how far we've fallen? That's what we are right now.
The purple?
The purple.
Yikes. And the yellow is what we had?
Yes.
I say we, like I'm fucking
No, we're role-playing. We're Byzantophiles
Awesome.
now.
I do have to say, it's cool how you started talking about the Vikings, and I was like, holy shit, like, both of these characters are, like, meeting. Like, it felt like two different sides
It
of,
all
like,
comes
a movie
full circle.
Yeah, no, that's fucked. We're in the shitter.
We're in the shit. So for the viewers at home, we own half of the right side of Turkey, a tiny bit of Constantinople, the island of Sicily, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Everything else is like proxy owned and isn't actually owned. So we're in the shitter. Then big man Leo III shows up. No fucking clue who this man is.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was
apparently, he repelled a Muslim assault in 718, defeated 32,000 Arabians in a battle
Like, shit.
in 740.
So is this true, or did somebody just say this?
No, this has actually happened.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, he walked in, he was like, I killed 32,000 people just by myself.
He did this man did a lot of things, it looks like. That's what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
He built a lot of gates, a lot of walls, and was like, this is silly. Let's fix all these like defenses and stuff. So they're fixing defenses. And then, Constantine V, another one. The fifth one, funnily enough. He shows up, a new form of... So, you know how in Christianity there's like runoff? So there's Catholicism, Orthodox, and then there's also Protestant, Anglican... Mormon, all those like spin-offs of Christianity. So same with
the spin-off shows.
Well, it's like Catholicism birthed Protestantism, Anglicanism, and those kind of things. And they're like kind of in the same triangle. Orthodox also had like a spin-off, and it was called Iconoclast.
Crazy.
Iconoclasm is the destruction of all icons. They saw it as blasphemous to put God's images into physical form. So you wouldn't have statues,
because
paintings.
God is a woman, like Ariana Grande said.
Yes. Well, God isn't real.
Yeah. Well,
but if they were a woman, then you know.
Well, is it because like, hey, God is a thing that we are? I guess it's like, you know,
it's a higher being. Why we creating physical forms?
Yes,
of it. It's pretty much like what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, he said it. He said what I was thinking.
Yeah. So I knew what you were gonna do.
Yeah, he laser beamed my head.
All right, so we're gonna fast forward 200 years because a bunch of boring shit happened in the middle.
Okay.
Pretty much they stayed about that size. And barely held on
for 200 years.
For 200 years.
Sheesh.
Now we reach the cool bit.
Fuck yeah.
The Macedonian.
Ba-ba-ba-ba.
The Macedonian culture shows up. These are the people who rule the empire until its collapse. So for another 500 years. So these guys show up and they're like, okay, let's fix this shit. It was called the Macedonian Renaissance period because this was the period that they rebirthed, because that's what Renaissance means. They get rid of that stupid religion that they like burn all the fucking icons and stuff. That's dumb. Let's bring back the normal orthodoxy. That shit, whack. They find the Muslims and they retake. That's right, Jack. We are so back, bro.
Oh my god.
We've got all of Turkey back. We've got Greece and a little bit of southern Italy.
Oh, these guys are good.
I like the Macedonians. These guys are sick. They said it only took 200 years, but eventually we got back. They took a bunch of the islands. They took back a bunch of land in Turkey, obviously using flamethrowers.
Fuck yeah.
They fought against the Bulgarians. And bro, do you want to see how back we are? Look how back we are. Look at all that white. We are so back, baby. We're talking all of the Balkans. We're talking southern Italy. We're talking a massive expansion in the northern part of Turkey. We're even starting to take a little bit of like Antioch and the Middle East back. We are so back, dude.
We are very back.
We are so. And do you know what caused this? One, the Macedonians came back, and their like whole lineage was that they were like military led. So they're very good at military conquest. 2, it was around this period that Muslim and Christian combat, or like Catholic, not just Muslim and Orthodox conflict was beginning to happen. So a lot of the Catholics were fighting the Muslims off in Spain, because the Muslims actually very famously owned all of Spain for a very long period of time. That was what was called the Reconquista or the Reconquest in Spanish. Pretty much a bunch of Spaniards held up here in the mountains and like guerrilla war, like Vietnam warred their way into like winning. And that's how kind of Spain became Spain. All of the islands in the Mediterranean were retaken by either Normans or like some angry Italian people. And then all of the islands over here.
And they're still here to this day.
And all of the islands below Turkey and stuff, they were all retaken by... they were all retaken by the Byzantines. So we're living right now. We are so back, right? Also people like the Umayyads, remember before that giant Islamic kingdom, completely collapsed. They're all independent kingdoms now. So not having one giant united force that the Byzantines have to constantly fight is really giving them that kind of drive to take back their land.
Is it just because everyone's distracted fighting each other that the Macedonians were just able to...
Yep. They were like, we're going to win now.
We are back.
We are so back. Anyway, it's about to go all downhill from here.
Oh, no. Why'd you give him this false hope?
So this was around the time that Russia began to be a thing, Kiev and Rus, or the Ukrainians, but it was Russia. They approached the Byzantines and were like, hey, cool religion.
Why'd you say it like you're a Girl Scout knocking on the door?
Yeah, they were like...
We're selling cookies.
Hello, we're selling our choice of religion. Can you come and help? This is a long between 850 and 1011 BC AD. This was around the time that the Kiev and Rus and the Byzantines were like trading soldiers. So this was around the time of the Varangian Guard, which we also talked about on the Viking podcast. There were Vikings that sailed down the rivers and like served in the Byzantine Empire as like army, as like the personal guards. Yeah. Right. So yeah, cool period. Anyway, this was then the absolute peak of the Byzantines.
Wow.
So we pretty much came back. We were fully Anatolia. We owned some of Crimea. Southern Italy, all of the Balkan areas, as previously stated, Bulgaria, Albania, Herzegovina, Serbia, Romania, Turkey, and a little bit of Syria. So we're pretty peak at this point. And then it all goes tits up. So big crisis. This was when the Normans like fully solidified their control of southern Italy. This was around 1018. So about 10 years before the Normans invaded England.
Oh. Did you say any like... I mean, you probably did, but yeah, I just guess I missed you saying like the times that the Normans invaded England?
1066.
Right. Okay.
1-800-00-1066. It was the phone number for Hastings. Like Hastings, they were like a wall builder company.
Oh.
And the whole joke was that like 1066 was the year that the Battle of Hastings happened. And I remember as a kid, there was this phone number that would like, like the seal ad, the RF, like stupid roof thing. Yeah. It's the same kind of ad in my head. It plays every day. All I hear is 1-800-00-1066. Anyway, so that's when that happened.
Yeah, I guess maybe I missed that you said it was 1066.
Yeah, so it was 1066. First Crusade happens because the beginning of the Turkish people, the Seljuk Turks, have arrived in Anatolia. They moved in, they were all the way up here in what, let's say, modern-day Kazakhstan. So they were a steppe people, descendants from the Mongolians. This was like the Turkish region. They came down here, invaded Anatolia, took a big portion of Anatolia, by the way, just for the people at home. If you look at a map, the right...
Oh my gosh.
God, that made me jump.
That scared the
shit.
The
right side of Istanbul is Anatolia. So anything to the right of Istanbul, this area is called Anatolia. It's just a region name, but it's an easy way to... It used to be called Asia Minor, but I think that's racist. So Anatolia. This region was all taken by the Seljuk Turks. Looking pretty dicey there.
Oh.
Big portion of land.
Yeah.
Big portion of land. So, the First Crusade happens. Come help us fight the Turks. The Pope's like, let's do it. They get a bunch of Christians together. They march in.
They squat up.
And they fight the Turkish. They're like, go away. Get out of my land. Anyway, the Knights of the First Crusade help fight the Turks. They defeat the Turks, push them back. By doing so, also have land entrance into the Holy Land. They take Jerusalem, Lebanon, Israel, Palestine, Antioch.
So they got the Holy Land back?
Well, back is...
I mean, like...
They captured the Holy Land.
Who captured the Holy Land?
The Christians.
Oh, okay.
The Crusaders. The people from...
Yeah, right. Okay.
all over the world.
I thought you were talking about the Byzantines.
So the Byzantines were like, you can come through our land.
Yeah, okay.
Fight the Turks, help us fight back the Turks, and then we'll give you money, supplies, as much as you need, and you can march onto the Holy Land. And that's what they did.
And who was calling it the Holy Land?
Anyone. That realistically, Jerusalem is the Holy Land for anyone that follows, like, a god.
Oh, okay.
So, like, well, that's a lie. Islam, Christianity, any form of Christianity, any form of Islam, see that area as an extremely holy place.
Okay, right.
It's the birthplace of Christ and also a very major point for the Prophet Muhammad.
I was wondering why Jerusalem sounded so familiar. Maybe it's because it was the birthplace of Christ.
Yes. It's also like, the capital. It's the capital of Israel, which is very topical. Right. Yeah, so...
Oh, yeah, okay. That's probably why it makes a little bit more sense
Yes, now. Yeah. So, anyway, they're all fighting. It's a big fucking mess. Second Crusade happens. The Crusader Kingdom of Jerusalem sent a massive fleet to invade Egypt. I want to say it failed. It failed because of, like, massive military setbacks. The Seljuks still exist, but the Byzantines are like pretty big still. But the Seljuks have been like pushed back.
What color is the Byzantines?
So the Byzantines are purple, always purple. Roman or royal purple, they called it. So that was like a big thing for the Byzantines.
Okay, right. So was the reason that it was a different color earlier because it wasn't technically the Byzantines?
Yeah, it wasn't.
It was the Macedonians?
No, they were the Eastern Roman Empire. Oh, you're talking about who was in charge? Yeah, it was the Macedonians. Yes,
oh, okay,
it was just a different colored map, that's all. Anyway, yeah, right. Purple.
Okay.
Byzantines, purple. The Turkics still exist on the right side of Anatolia, but otherwise they've been pushed back pretty well. The Byzantines fully into like this region here, so we're talking again Lower Balkan area. Still living, but it's not exactly fucking fantastic yet. Let's have a look here. So, a bunch of fights. And then, oh no, here comes the Third Crusade. So in the Third Crusade, the Byzantines wanted to join in. Actually, like, go with them this time, not just give them the supplies. Mm-hmm. So they went, and by doing that, they lost, like, a lot of men. But it was also around this time that the Normans intended to invade Byzantium. So the Normans showed up, fought the Byzantines. The Byzantines were fighting the Normans and trying to contribute to the crusade at the same time. They were also fighting multiple rebellions in like the Albania region. So it was a big mess. Yeah. Big decline. A lot of people they were losing a lot of men. They did win, but the Crusaders who they let through their land did not receive enough supplies and food and money because the Byzantines were fighting the Normans. Because the Byzantines were fighting the Normans, the Crusaders who went into the Holy Land didn't receive enough supplies. So the Crusaders gave no land back to the Byzantines. They were meant to give Antioch, they were meant to give Cyprus, that kind of thing.
Wait, who didn't give it back?
The Crusaders. So for the Third Crusade, this was when Richard I of the Lionheart, King of England, he was like the goat, right? He showed up, he kicked ass, he won a bunch of fights. He took Cyprus and gave it to the Kingdom of Jerusalem, and then was like, you're not getting it, Byzantines, because you didn't give us anything. And the Byzantines were like, that's fucked up. And they just stopped liking each other. Yeah. So for the Fourth Crusade, the Byzantines did not let anyone through. This was the biggest mistake the Byzantines had ever made. Because do you know what happened? The Venetians promised the Crusaders in the Fourth Crusade, because at this point, the Holy Land had been lost. So between the Third Crusade and the Fourth Crusade, the Islamic nations had called a jihad, which was like the same thing as a crusade, but for the Muslim people. And so they summoned a bunch of armies from all over the Middle East and attacked Jerusalem, conquering the city, right? By doing this, they obviously made the Pope a little bit upset. And the Pope was like, let's call a Fourth Crusade the absolute doom of the Byzantine Empire. It's so sad. So the Byzantines are Orthodox Christian, a form of Christianity, but not Catholic. They're not ran by the Pope. They're their own religion, right? Same as Russia. Now, the Pope is obviously Christian and the head of the Catholic Church. The Pope is the one calling the Crusades. The Orthodox have nothing to do with it. They're Catholic Crusades, just to make that clear. Christianity is the support of Christ. Orthodox is inside the Christian umbrella, but it is not Catholic. It's not under Catholicism. It's like at the same level.
Similar,
if we're talking like tiers, it goes Christianity, Orthodox, Catholicism, and then under Catholicism, there's like Protestantism and all that rubbish. So Orthodox is a completely separate thing from Christianity. That's why there was what's called a schism, which is a split between the two religions. The Pope was like, okay, we are going to crusade for Jerusalem. The Crusaders are like, okay, we can't go through the Byzantines because they fucking hate us. So how do we fix this? They go to Venice. They go, Venice, we need boats. Venice are like, okay, give us this much money in however many years, and we'll build the boats for you. And they're like, okay. So anyway, Venice build the boats. They knock on the Crusaders' door about 4 years later. Hey, we have all your boats. Where's the money? Crusaders do not have the money. So the Venice go, okay, one of our little city-states here on the coast of the Adriatic Sea. I don't want to say the name because it's a bit yikes. I'll just say it. Montenegro, which is on the coast right here on the stick. It's one of the city-states that Venice owned. They use it as a trading hub. It had rebelled recently, and they were like, if you, the crusading army of 50,000 men, take back the city for us, we'll consider the debt paid. Now, the Doge, that's the name of the leader of the Republic of Venice. They were called the Doge. They were mercantile people who were elected by other mercantile people to be in charge of Venice. So Venice wasn't a kingdom, it was a republic, which is really cool. The Doge, who was fucking ancient, dude, he was like 80 years old, which at this point is like 170, right? He's an old guy. He's like, I want to come with you because I'm never going to experience anything like this in the rest of my life. So he goes with them. They end up in Montenegro. They take it, and it's like, cool, we fixed this. We've paid for the boats. Let's sail to the Holy Land. Now, around the same time, the Normans tried to put an old claimant to the Byzantine Empire on the Byzantine throne. Now, when the Normans were defeated by the Byzantines and pushed out of their land, this was like a few years ago, the claimant was blinded and then banished. The claimant found his way to the Crusader army, and he asked the Crusaders, take back the Byzantine Empire, and I will give you 200,000 kilograms of silver and contribute 200,000 kilograms of silver to any nation that is founded in the Holy Land afterwards. Do you know what the Crusaders said to this? Fuck yeah. So they sail to Constantinople, and they sack the city. We're talking a Christian holy army told by the Pope to go to the Holy Land, decided to detour for money and sacked one of the most important Christian cities on the planet for money. They not only sacked it, they ransacked it for every ounce of gold that place had. They destroyed so many ancient buildings and collapsed the entire empire, founding a new one called the Latin Empire, which was like pathetic. So that little red bit there, that was what the Latins, like that was what the Catholic people founded. This blue bit here, the like Byzantine area of Nicaea, that's all that's left of the Byzantines now. That little slither of land. So the Catholic Crusaders showed up and collapsed the entire Byzantine Empire by sacking it all for money. And then do you know what was the worst part about it? They just went home.
Yeah.
They didn't even go to the Holy Land. They just left. They were like, oh, okay, well, we've got the money now. Yeah. Bye. Like, that's it.
Self-complete.
Everyone who did that was excommunicated by the Pope, which means in the eyes of the Christian church, they are like less than dirt. Like, you are nothing. You will be going to hell and there's nothing you can do to fix it.
Yikes.
Yeah, really, really bad. following the sacking of Constantinople and the destruction of the Byzantine Empire in the Fourth Crusade, they attempted to reclaim their kingdom.
He's stolen my belt.
What was like the following kingdom, like the Empire of Nicaea, which was like a little bit in Anatolia, on the left side of Anatolia. They reconquered Constantinople. They conquered a lot of like Epirus and stuff, which is around Greece. So they pretty much owned like this area here. So all of Greece and a little bit around Constantinople. However, they had a civil war. The Ottoman and Seljuk Turks, which are eventually what became Turkey and the Ottoman Empire, capitalized on this, took all of their land in Asia Minor. So all of their land in Anatolia is gone. They just exist in Constantinople and a little bit in Epirus now.
Oh, no.
And following that, the Ottoman Empire was founded, and we are purple. So we are pretty much the city of Constantinople and a little bit of Greece. Then in like 1450-ish area, I want to say 1458 or something. 1460.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Yeah, 1460. The Ottomans used the first cannons on the walls of Theodosia because they couldn't break it. So the Ottomans they were insane. They were giant brass cannons. We're talking like the thickness of like this table and about 10 meters long. So about like a meter or two wide and 10 meters long. They were rested on like multiple, almost like tree logs to like stay still. They would load them with these cannons and they would take like 15 minutes to reload because they'd have to like pour gunpowder in it. They fired giant cannonballs and you'd only be able to get about 20 shots out of them before they started cracking and breaking. Because they weren't like made like for this kind of thing. But they had to use them to break the walls because the walls around Constantinople were so thick and like well defended. When Constantinople fell in like 1460, that was the unfortunate death of the Byzantine Empire. But really, the major point that destroyed this empire was that Fourth Crusade. If that Fourth Crusade did not turn on Constantinople, it likely would have been able to probably survive in some way for a lot longer.
Well, they just wouldn't have had like as many enemies, right?
Yeah, and their entire empire would not have been crumbled by fellow Christians. It's crazy. Like, it's weird me talking about this because then it like angers me, but like I don't know why.
Yeah,
because,
I mean, being able to say like all you had to do was not
sack a fellow Christian.
All you had to do was follow the damn train. That's what I'm saying.
Follow the damn train, CJ. But yeah, that's the Byzantines. That's really like that was their death. They held out in Constantinople against the Ottomans for like 200 years. Use of, funnily enough, Greek fire meant that the Ottoman Navy couldn't surround the city, so they kept getting deliveries from like Venice and Genoa to keep food coming in. A lot of mercenaries were hanging out in Constantinople. Some people who believed that like even ex-crusaders who were like, we can't let the city fall, held in that city. So it was a real hodgepodge of people holding that city in the end. But eventually it fell, and that was the end of the empire, and that's when the Ottoman Empire rose in like 1460, and that's when it became like big shit in that region. But yeah, that was the Ottoman Empire. That's like
crazy.
It's a real roller coaster of history. It's crazy how much they like lost and get back and everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a cool like that situation of them like losing shit, getting it back and stuff. It was a cool like indicator of the time, like where we were at, with like how much land the Byzantines had and stuff. But I think it's also cool that this is probably the first time, which understandable, it's only been 6 episodes, but the first time that you've talked about something that has linked up with something else that you've already talked about. Because that was really cool hearing like, oh shit, the Vikings that you talked about.
It's
like,
the Normans, they're back.
Oh no, the cracked out 6 feet tall Vikings.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, it's cool. And like purple was their color, but they called it royal or imperial purple. And it was like a very important thing for the Byzantines. So anything you see from Byzantines will always be purple. It was there like the same way that like Rome's imperial color was red, the Byzantines' imperial color was purple. That was their color. So much so that like towards the end of their empire, they had any child that was born of the emperor was born in a room covered in purple silk. And it was called being born in the purple. It was like a very royal. It was like a very imperial thing to be born in a room of purple.
Sorry, I never mentioned it. It's we're
ball,
getting
bro.
Yeah, we're getting into the crazy times now. I'm currently puppy sitting. It's on my Twitter. Check out my Twitter. It's a mess. He doesn't really know how to walk properly. He's 8 weeks old. He's currently playing with a ball because we've still got the Christmas tree up. And he's just falling over and rolling it around the whole place.
He's very silly.
He was sleeping the whole time up until now, like right around the end of the podcast. So it's off the rails now.
But yeah, that was the Byzantine Empire. How do you feel about it? Any closing thoughts? Anything you have to sum it up? Any questions?
That was a very cool thing to learn about because, like I said, with the stuff all linking together, and then also like the time period like that is indicated by how much land the Byzantines had. I think, I don't know. I think it was just cool because we also still got to talk about violence and war and stuff like that.
Of course, they're flamethrowers. They're fucking flamethrowers.
I didn't even think about the flamethrowers.
They're motherfucking flamethrowers.
I mean, at that point, with you talking about all of the other stuff, like the flamethrowers didn't seem like as big of a deal than when you were like, oh yeah, they invented flamethrowers.
They were using flamethrowers up until like that final conquest of the city. As I said, it's the whole reason the Ottoman fleet couldn't barricade the city because they would just burn. Like they just burn every single fleet that showed up. Yeah. But yeah, it's such a weird period of history because like I a lot of people who learn about it and like who are like big like history people get quite you get sad when you talk about it because it's like it was such a prominent and like of course every empire in history has like awful things that they've done or said or whatever, but they really were like a beacon of like ancient times that existed in the high medieval age. They existed all the way into the Renaissance. We're talking like what if we include like its conquest by the initial Empire of Rome? It's like a 5,000-year-old like 4,000-year-old like empire.
Well, you know? I guess it's also just the thought of like they had almost nothing and then came back and then almost had it all again and then lost it all.
They were constantly like, they were such like a resilient existence of a place. And it really felt like reading about it that many of the emperors, many of them, not all of them, there were a lot of infighting, but many of the emperors truly believed in their like, in the existence of their empire. Like it was never like we've lost, so let's give up. It was always like, even down to the final siege of the city, the fact that they held out for so long as they did, and that last emperor died in that city with that. He died holding that city. He didn't run away. Cool. He died holding that city.
What a legend. You know? Yeah, we like the Byzantines.
What a god. Dude, big Byzantophile. Massive Byzantophile.
The Byzantines, and what was that religion that was about just being nice?
Zoroastrian. So you're a Byzantine Zoroastrian man.
Yeah, sure.
But what's crazy is...
bisexual. Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Is that what they're called now?
Yeah, that's the bisexual. I read a fact the other day. Oh, fuck's sake. I read a fact the other day, which is really strange. But the Byzantines, when they fell in 1460, it was like a Roman, because they were Roman. They still saw themselves as Roman. Even though they were Greek, they were like of like Roman descendant.
Yeah.
Like a Roman existed, or the culture of like Roman existed from like the time of ancient Greece all the way up to the founding of like modern day France and Germany and like England and like the Ottoman Empire and stuff. Like it's a culture that lasted thousands and thousands of years through so many different iterations. And the Romans went from holding bronze sticks and like protecting themselves with like wooden armor to seeing the birth of like the use of cannons. That's how long that culture lasted technologically.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's a long lasting time, and that fucking Fourth Crusade ruined it all.
God, all he had to do was not call the Fourth Crusade or whatever.
No, I mean call the Fourth Crusade. It's just so the reason that they like took the ex-emperor up on his offer was because the leader of the initial leader of the crusade that wanted to go to the Holy Land died, and someone else took over, and he was way more money hungry. He focused more on money and land than on like the actual faith. He was an obvious not man of the faith, even though he was there for the money, and he got the money from the Constantinople, unfortunately. The Turks, however, when they took the city, they did hold it relatively how it is. The Hagia Sophia is still there now. There's this temple that was built by ancient Byzantine people. I don't think it's one of the 7 wonders of the world. That's a lie, but it's definitely like up there with things like the Taj Mahal in India.
Wow.
Giant, like it's almost like a museum now because the roofs are still covered in paintings done by Byzantine painters like 2,000 years ago, you know? So yeah, that was the Byzantines, man.
That's so cool. That did not feel like an hour and a half of it.
It was a long one. I'm sorry, guys. We've got some stuff to cut out, so I'm sure it's fine.
When you were like 40 minutes in, I was like, wait, this is like so interesting though. Like, I should just keep
Byzantine
talking.
history is super cool because no one fucking talks about it.
Yeah.
Did you even know they existed?
Nope.
Exactly.
I mean, like, in my defense, I didn't know anything existed.
It's the early medieval age is by far one of the coolest periods of history that very few people actually talk about. We always go to like the knights and like the crusades and stuff, but they all took place in what's called the high Middle Ages. The early Middle Ages and like the Dark Ages, that's when like they owned like everything. Remember when how I showed you they owned like Italy and Spain? That was the early Middle Ages, and that was around the period that the Ostrogoths owned Italy and like, you know, that kind of thing. And like the Sassanid Zoroastrian people existed and things like that. So the fire temples and the eternal flames and all that kind of thing. It's dope. And that sounds like a made up religion, but it isn't.
Does, yeah.
It isn't. That's really cool, right? But yeah, I hope you guys at home enjoyed too, listening to me chat away.
It was a very fun
I'm hoping
session.
that there are definitely some Byzantophiles in the. There's bound to. I know for a damn fact there's some Byzantophiles in this who listen. So it was cool. I hope you enjoyed listening along and you shed a tear when I said that they got crushed in the Fourth Crusade. I love you guys. You're all great. Make sure, as always, that you vote 5 stars if you can. If you're still here and you listen on Spotify, make sure you vote that 5 stars, share it around, tell your friends and family and your dog and your goldfish. Make sure they all also listen, download. Also on YouTube, if you're there, like, comment, all those kind of things. Because voting 5 stars and giving us interaction gets us up on that leaderboard.
And that means more podcasts.
Damn right.
John,
so,
where can they find you? Where can the people find you?
They can find me on Twitter or X, depending on how much of a loser you are.
Depending on your sexual orientation.
Yeah, depending on your sexual orientation. So you can find me on there at John Real Talk. And Jack is at AO Jack, 2 A's.
2 A's, 1 Y, 1 O.
1 Y, 1 O, Jack. All one word. Tweet at us. Let us know. Send us messages. Send us tweets. Tell us what you think. Tell me if I was wrong, because if I was wrong, get angry at me. I want to read it. I want to know that I was wrong.
And also, because Spotify doesn't let you actually leave a review, they only let you rate on a star system. You can message us, DM us on Twitter, let us know what you thought of the podcast. We read them out at the start of the episodes, like you heard. But yeah, is that gonna do it?
I think that's us.
There we go.
All right.
I learned about the Byzantines, and
flamethrower.
I am now religious.
Hoorah.
Hoorah.
All right. Well, we love you guys. Kisses. Have a good day, whoever's listening. Mwah. Bye, team. Love you.